Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. I hope you're having a great day. If you haven't already, go on the StarWarsTheory.com forums, make some new friends, and chat with the community. It's really a great forum on there. Today we're going to talk about how Yoda lifted the most weight of any Force user, to my knowledge. Now when we think about the strongest Force users in the galaxy and the many feats that they've achieved, it's hard to admit, but there are a lot of Sith and Jedi that seem to have far greater feats than Master Yoda than we know about. If we just take a quick look at some of Darth Sidious's feats, who was Yoda's contemporary, we can see some truly incredible achievements. I mean, he completely dominated Darth Vader in almost every one of their conflicts, and at one point, after realizing that Luke Skywalker was his son, Vader technically tried to betray the Emperor, and Palpatine simply waved his hand and crushed Vader's entire body, and former Jedi Master Anakin Skywalker could do nothing but try to endure. In Legends, Palpatine was so powerful that he could not only survive death through the creation of cloned bodies, but he could control black holes through the dark sides of the Force. These were known as Force Storms, and Palpatine made use of them a few years after his first death, during the events of Dark Empire, when he managed to seduce Luke Skywalker to the dark side. But besides Palpatine, there were plenty of other Force users who seemed to be leagues above Yoda. Exar Kun famously achieved godlike status when he wore an ancient Sith amulet and defeated the Sith spawn created by Nagasato on the Temple of Yavin 4. By that time, Kun had already proved himself mightier than most of the Jedi Masters. He had defeated his fellow apprentices in sparring matches and channeled the dark side of the Force to defeat his unknowing teacher, Master Voto Siosk Bass. Shortly after, he began increasing his knowledge of the dark side, under the tutelage of Freedon Nad's Phantom. It all culminated in the famous battle in the pits of Yavin 4, when the Massassi warriors summoned the mighty Sith Worm to consume Kun's body. But Kun was able to summon the dark side and shot it out as projected energy. His power was so great that it literally burnt the skin from his hands. Again, this type of awe-inspiring feat is not something that you would typically be able to compare to anything Yoda has shown us, at least not in canon. Now that is until Yoda visited an uncharted planet in the Vagadar system. Troubled by a mysterious calling that he felt through the Force, and you guys might remember this from a comic that I covered a long time ago, Yoda flew his modified starfighter to a sector of space with no known worlds. There, he discovered a single desert planet, covered in miles and miles of yellow sand and tall, barren mountains. The planet was home to two warring tribes of children, and apparently no adults. After much digging, Yoda discovered that the natives were consuming a blue stone, which granted them temporary force powers that would rival any Jedi Knight's abilities. Troubled by the exact nature of the mysterious mineral, Yoda eventually found out that the substance was being harvested from a nearby mountain, which seemed to be the last blue one on the planet. When a warring group of children captured Yoda, they imprisoned him inside the mountain. There, Yoda found not only the missing adults, who were imprisoned there too, but also the answer to his questions. The blue stone wasn't just some random hunk of slate that the children were chiseling from the mountain. It was actually the flesh of a giant, sentient landmass. The mountain was actually alive. It had a blue beating heart, and when Yoda touched it, he woke it. The most vicious group of tribal children on the planet, the Rockhawkers, used their ability to commune with the stone power of the world and turned the living mountain's anger against their enemy, the tribe that Yoda had been living with, far into the desert. The living mountain was so large that you would have to stand miles away in order to see its full form. If you were too close, you could only see its massive blue feet, or if you craned your neck a little bit, up to its waist. Unable to calm the creature's anger, Yoda was forced to fight the mountain. And not only did he defeat the being, which would be enough to rival any Force user's feats, even Sidious's Force Storms or Exar Kun's dark side blasts, but Yoda actually used the Force to lift it and then throw it. When the giant blue mountain tried to stomp on Yoda for the final time, he ignited his lightsaber and stabbed it with the small green blade. Then, Yoda calmly reached out with a single hand, lifted it off the ground, then sent it tumbling backwards. Think about that for a minute. Yoda, in every sense of the phrase, literally lifted a mountain with the Force. Now, mountains in our world weigh on average a few billion pounds, and the very largest of them, after a quick Google search, reveals that they weigh trillions of pounds. The living mountain from the Vagadar system was larger than many mountains that you might see here on Earth, so it's safe to assume that in this situation, Yoda lifted at least several billion pounds, if not trillions of pounds, and rather effortlessly. So it just puts into perspective how unbelievably powerful Yoda was. And this makes me think of something from the Revenge of the Sith novelization, that when Palpatine ended his communication with Anakin Skywalker, who was on Mustafar after defeating the Separatists, Yoda took the place of the hologram, and he had actually walked in the room when he disposed of the Royal Red Guards. And Palpatine's thoughts were, and I'm paraphrasing, that his small stature, limp, and cane that he was using was all just a facade. It was just an image, it was just for show. And he described Yoda as being light itself. So Yoda was pretty powerful, he just didn't show it all the time. He wasn't really a showboat. I guess he had all those years to kind of get it out of his system. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video and the interesting fact about Yoda, how he lifted the most weight of any Force user, several trillion pounds. I mean, I don't think anybody else comes close to that. Perhaps his powers were elevated from all of the blue rock near him. It could be possible. Something similar happened in Alan Dean Foster's book, Splinter of the Mind's Eye, when Vader got hold of a special crystal that Luke Skywalker and Leia were trying to keep from him. This crystal magnified his Force powers tenfold, and he was able to shoot Force lightning. So maybe this is something like that, you just need to be around the material, I'm not sure, and because there was such an abundance, perhaps Yoda was extremely powerful. Even more so than normal, which is saying a lot for him. Either way, let me know your thoughts down below. Check me out on the StarWarsTheory.com forums and everybody else commenting on there. You guys are doing a great job of keeping the site super active. I'm really impressed. So have a great day. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, remember, the Force will be with you always.